Hey everyone, and welcome to an advanced building tutorial. In this episode you will learn to build in layers and kind of experience a bit more detailing, and now I will just say jump into the episode and enjoy today's tutorial. If you are a beginner and you don't have any idea how to build anything, make sure to check out my tutorial series. It's a 5-episode series of very general things to know about this game. I will link this playlist now on the top right so you can actually access that. During the course of this tutorial you are able to build this entire set over here. You can also download it from the workshop to check how I made things. But we are going to make an advanced building today. What we are going to do, we're going to place a restaurant over here, which is what you have seen also from the thumbnail, obviously. But we are going through it, not building it completely in detail with every single bit that you would do on a creative build. We are going through it by showing to you how you utilize the tools of the game in the best way possible to make this a lot better than the standard-ish blocky buildings, and also how you can play around with the systems in Planet Zoo. So first things we are doing, there has been an update, the 1.1 update of Planet Zoo, which includes a very important change in regards to the building system, which is the first thing we're going to check. So in construction in Planet Zoo, you have different options to build. The first and most known option is building on the grid. So if you go into architecture, and I'm gonna display only the building pieces, you have all this kind of stuff. But again, this is an advanced tool, advanced tutorial. I'm not going through all the different panels and stuff. You should know by now. If not, make sure to check out the other tutorials. So if we go, for example, into the wall pieces, we have the grid pieces over here as well. And today we are going to use some of the Arctic wall sets because they work very, very well together with the Asian feel as well. Now you can see this is all put down on a grid. Usually when building in this game, we are working with a 4 meter or 2 meter grid. Now in this case we finally have something that is very handy for us, and we can reduce the grid size to not only 2 meters but actually 1 meter. So you can see we get a lot smaller squares now, which helps us to get a lot more depth into our builds by using the grid still to be able to build very nice and parallel and stuff. So this is my starting point over here. You can see how much easier it is to move stuff around, and we're going to build this like a little L-shaped building over here, so we get access to this area over here and put some shops in. So before we do so, let me explain a few more things that you would consider. Now, building in different layers in the game is very important. You can utilize the different tools you have in a very easy way. So what I like to do is first of all get into a building mode in a way of planning out my stuff. So first things first, I'm going to plan my walls. This is my wall I have over here, which I'm going to use in the whole building. So this will be my wall piece. And then I'm also going to build a roof. Now if I go and build the roof, usually what you would do, you would put the roof on top here, just like that. It's still in the same building, but you cannot do so much with it. What I highly recommend is to split this from the building group. So let's just quickly escape the building. So you can see this is now one building piece. If I click on it, it is highlighted, and you can see it's one piece. Now that's pretty easy because you can move that one piece around and you can do whatever you want with it. However, if you want to change the roof only, you need to go into and select the roof. Now this is very simple as long as you have one piece, but trust me, if you have multiple pieces in here, it's going to be very hard to choose the roof. So what I like to do is to split this from that group. Actually, what you can do over here on the top right, you have the option split from group, and then it becomes an own building group in itself. So now you have actually two buildings. This is one and this is one. Now this is what we do. So first of all, because you don't want to have the roof right now, just move it away for a second. We will use it later. And now what you do is you go into the building and basically plan out the wall. So this is the first thing. I really like to do this, and this is the first bigger tip I have for you. Plan out your building in multiple ways that you have different layers. Now we have like the one layer is the roof, the other layer is now the wall, and we want to make this like a blueprint for the rest of our building. Now what I want to have is I want to have a lot more whitish colors to this building. So you can always use for example, the concrete pieces in the game. Unfortunately, they are not flexi-color, but what they are, they have a very nice texture. So this is always the advantage when you work with given pieces that are not flexi-color. They are most likely very good in terms of the overall texture quality. So this is what I want to use, and I want to get some red in as well, but for the moment I'm just using that. The reason why I just moved it a little bit down is so I can see if we just hit the middle. Now there are a few more things you can do. Now, when you have grid pieces, grid piece also works with a few shortcuts. So if we have this piece, for example, and you want to align that at the very center of this building, you don't need to just measure it yourself. You can simply press F on the keyboard and it jumps into the middle, and there you go. You can easily position it over here, and the same goes also if you duplicate it. You can see it automatically snaps to the various spaces where you need that. If you press F again, you can see you can move it again freely. If you press P, you have the same thing actually, but it is on position snap. If you have, for example, a bike or a car, the wheels and stuff snap into position, which is pretty handy, but F always brings you into the middle of the piece. As you can see, it always centers it exactly where you need it. But yeah, this is very handy. Also, another thing which is pretty handy is if you don't want your piece to be aligning with the wall as it stands over here, so if you want to make sure that your piece always stays in this rotation, hit the V key on the keyboard, and I'm going to do a whole tutorial series on shortcuts as well, which will be out tomorrow, and you guys can have a look into that as well. But if you have, if you press V, you can see it basically doesn't align to any of the grids anymore. You can it just aligns to the height, but it doesn't align to the sides and stuff, so it doesn't change the rotation. Now, if you press V again, you can see it snaps, and if you press F, it would snap into the middle. So it's easy to build some kind of columns like that. But anyways, that's just a general explanation how it makes you a better builder and an advanced builder in that kind of sense. Now, what I want to have some more wood in here as a detail, first of all. Now we're gonna change a we're gonna change into flexi-color, material, wood. I highly recommend also to make your own filters. I don't have one set in here because I needed to reinstall my game, and so I have to get in with my filters again, which is a bit unfortunate. But yeah, so I hope that I will be able to kind of change this in the future again, because this is kind of annoying. I had some filters set for some general wall pieces and stuff. It always is easy to have those pieces around when you need them, because they help you be quicker. Like I had a filter for like backstage pieces, I had a filter for wall pieces, I had a filter for like window-ish pieces, so this is kind of easy to do it. So now I want to get a bit of depth in here, you know, and since we have the cool bit now that the pieces on the grid are actually easy to manipulate with the one media grid, I want to work with that, and we are going to go back into the wall pieces. Let's get rid of the filters, and now what I want to do, I want to use this wall piece as well to get some depth in. And now as we have highlighted this area, I want to make this whole thing even more kind of putting in the back. Now what I do is I kind of use this piece over here, and then I want to use that one as well, which would be here. Okay, that should be fine. I don't want to make it too parallel, you know, that's the reason why I'm using this over here, and I'm going to use the flat piece, no, the smaller one down here as well. Can I also put that? No, it's not as much in the middle. But now you have this wonderful situation that you have the open window from this side, and it kind of is from the outside is a bit smaller. It is a little bit tilted to the right hand side, and we can also use that piece, and I know, you know what, we just leave it the way it is. I think that's fairly okay. Cool. Now what we need some glass in between, right? So this is the next bit I'm going to do. I'm going to decheck blueprints again, and we search for glass, and there we go. I don't want to have any kind of glass piece that is on the grid, so I'm going to search for one which isn't, and I'm going to go with this piece. Now we are going to move this piece in as so that we have the glass in here sitting. Actually, the best thing would be having it sitting in the middle, right? So here we go. Cool. So that's the basic setup for the window. Now you can see there is a little bit of glass in, you have the depth and stuff. Now what we do, we're going to build now a proper window out of it. We are using this piece to kind of frame the window as if that would be set this way. And I'm gonna bring in some more Asian pieces now. I am not sure if I can. I think I can go for theme and then go for let's say East Asia and India, because I feel like this is the best thing we can do. And then let's deselect the glass piece, because I feel like that could be cool. And let's see if we find any suitable pieces. Usually I won't do this. Usually I would go for actually like everything, because the game has so much to offer that you don't need to filter by any of the things. But for the purpose of this little tutorial video, I'm going to use the pieces that are tagged to the Asian set. If you don't feel too comfortable with all the pieces, you can easily do this because it helps you create nice stuff from the get-go without worry too much if this fits the theme or not. But if you're getting a bit more advanced, I highly recommend to test different pieces from other themes as well that go well into each other, which, for example, the Indian pieces and the Asian pieces, they most likely go well together. Not always, but they have a good combination in them to be used. Now what I want to do, I want to make this over here a little bit more dark. So I'm gonna move this in, and I want a bit more. Oh, this is like a nice pillar we could use in here in the middle, because I want to have like also a bit of a kind of, I don't even know how awning. It's more likely like an awning what I want to do there, which hopefully will work in a second. Now you could also try and make some wall shapes behind here. Okay, this is too big, but the idea is to kind of get a bit of a texture in here. So you could, and I would say let's do it a bit more bright. So we're gonna go with a more fitting to the concrete on the other side, maybe a bit less saturated. Where you go. Okay, a bit more, a little bit brighter, less saturated and brighter. I think there we go. I think that's fine. And then we're gonna rotate this again to be actually parallel. And I almost think, no, that's fine. I think we got it nicely done. Okay, and one more thing I want to do, I want to get in with, nope, is there a shorter one available? Yeah, I wanted to have this a bit more like so, kind of a combination piece between those areas. Nice. So we have this little window in here, and what I want to do is now a little bit of an awning that goes in here, like not too much, but so we have something for the roof. Therefore, I'm going to use this piece over here. Let's move that in. I want to align that as much as I can with the. Here we go. So this is it, and then that should be over here, and we're gonna move this in. How's that? You have to think now. Okay, this is important. You have to think that this piece would not be available on this side anyway. So I'm going to just put that here. We're gonna delete this because it will be available by copying it over. And if I did my calculations right, I made a huge mistake here because this one is actually going like it will be on this side like so. So that kind of is how much it blends over. So we need to move that pillar a bit more over here, and so this is what is really getting a bit more advanced here, guys. So we have to use it a bit more like this. I'm gonna make this hopefully a bit nicer looking by moving it in. Let me just, okay, this pillar has to go a fair bit to the left, so to center it in the texture. Awesome. And now let me just delete this and put that reddish thing right to the corner. I know this should be fine. Let's copy it over quickly. Yeah, okay, now we nailed it. That's perfect. Okay, cool. So we have done that, and now the only thing is we need something on top here, and this is why we're going to use this bit. Oops, I unfortunately deactivated the angle snap, which is back now. Here we go, and we're gonna put this on top here. So there we go. It's kind of a thick pillar, but that should be fine. Okay, cool. This is done. And now if I calculated everything correctly, it should be working out just fine. Yeah, see, that's awesome. Now we have done one blueprint, which is for a window. Now we have to kind of get in and try to make this a more advanced blueprint by making it a door frame and also where a shop can be in. Now, to make this really easy for you, I would say just copy that over to a different position so you don't get confused with this piece. So just copy it over once and twice. The reason why I'm doing it that way is to make sure you maintain the same dimensions of the piece. Otherwise you're getting into an issue, which is not good, and this is not what you want. So what you need to do first, delete the main pieces. This is the main thing, because now you have the framework, which is fine, but since you don't move this, you are able now to utilize the same positioning. Important bit here. First of all, let's get rid of all the filters. So we have the pieces again. And for a shopfront, it always is highly recommendable to use the actual Planet Zoo shopfront. That's the easiest way of doing it. Now we move it into the same position. So we do have the same pieces properly aligned. You can see it's exactly the same. We're going to do it this way, but since we are having a shop that is sitting in here, we cannot use the back piece, so we can get rid of it. And now we have to see how we do it. Now you have a whole lot of items here which do do the work already. So what we do, we're going to delete this pillar. We are not going to use this. We are going to use this for the door frame actually. But what's kind of cool, I kind of like this piece, to be honest. Now let's delete this quickly because I want to choose this and then redo so we can choose it again. And we're going to move this all over to this side. I kind of like to have these things in there. I don't know why, but it kind of looks cool. We don't need this piece though, but I like these pieces in here in the middle as kind of a little, it almost looks like these things you have it's more likely a counter. It looks really like a counter. Oh, they are floating. Okay, we have to bring them down a bit. Okay, these two pieces seem to be very annoying right now, so let's just delete them, undo. By the way, if you do not know this trick, it's very easy. You just select one piece, you delete this, then you select the piece you actually wanted to select and hit Ctrl Z, so the other piece is back in position, but then you can just copy the piece you were not able to reach beforehand. I did a little mistake here. Can I just, yeah, okay, we need to meander that a bit more into the middle, and then we have to put this one into a better position. Okay, so we don't need the glass in between, so that's it. Now this is where the shop should be sitting pretty nicely, and the only thing we need to do, again, delete those two pieces because they, god, this is so annoying, and redo it. And we have to, okay, we have to then just copy that over, move it into the position. Here we go, done. So you have the shop front. Okay, that was pretty easy. You can see how quick that worked without actually, putting too much effort in. You can see we have two pieces now. That's easy. We are only 15 minutes in, including the explanation. That's pretty dope though. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we make the door frame work. Now what you can do, you can again get rid of these pieces and also the glass. You don't need this. Put the door frame in like so and just go through. But since we do want to make this a door frame for the guests, I would highly recommend to not use this one because, as you know, the widest, the smallest path is 4 meters anyways. So what we're going to use the archway, and I'm going to use the Arctic one roundish because I feel like that's the best one. Now this time we are running into some issues here because you need to first of all select these two pieces here to see how much they meander, and I would highly recommend to just leave that concrete column on the left hand side in as long as you can. You don't need to have it in, but I would highly recommend to leave it in as long as you can to make sure that you have the same dimensions, because this is exactly the location where this column is sitting once you copy the whole stuff over. So it's always a little bit planning in advance, and if you use the copy method, only make sure to always only do one side of your piece, because when you copy them over you will have them intersecting with each other because they sit at the same position. You don't need them to have them twice. Now we don't need to have these pieces either, so this is why we're going to use that pillar now here. This is when we don't use this one because it now works pretty nicely indeed if you move that over. Again, same situation, you don't even need to copy this piece because there will be sitting another one actually, but in this case it doesn't because you don't use this all the time. So in this case, copy this one over and then put it in a location where you like it. Now you can do several things here. You can kind of keep, first of all, you can delete many pieces in the middle because you don't need them. Also these pieces, but I kind of like these pieces a lot here, so I wanted to see if they work as little framework over here. So they seem to be wider, so let's move them so they just stick out ever so slightly on this side, and the same goes for this side, just to make sure that we get this bit of texture in, because I really like the texture of them. Okay, let's see, we have to, okay, they have to stick out a bit here. I feel like almost this is kind of cool anyway, so let's do it that way. And then we select them both and change the color to the darkish red. Oops, I just misclicked that. Where's the darkish red? Here we go. So yeah, it gives that a little bit of texture, and I like that we have the door frame here. You just have to look in. Does it look from both sides? It looks kind of cool. We have this double layered frame. It really looks good, you know, it really looks good. Now the only thing is, do we have always this red piece? We cannot say quite yet, but this is how we build that now. We have a whole set, and now what we can do, we can now start to copy that whole stuff into the right positions. Now, very important bit, make sure to have these pieces copied around to another space because you will use them later on. Make sure that they are far away from each other so you're easy to select them. See, I even did that wrong, so we can also just put that far off into the distance to make sure that, you know, once you select them, you don't need to be that careful, you know, put them on a strategically nice position to be able to easily copy them, and then we can just copy them over. Okay, we're gonna start by using this piece over here as a first shop front on this side, and I want to have another shop that goes right in here next to this piece. And now it's a little bit important that you focus on where you put it. So in this case, in this specific case, I would recommend to go into the facilities tab and put your shops in already, because that makes the whole thing a bit easier. So we're gonna go for a food stall. Let's see, do we have anything Asian in here? Not really. Let's take Missy Goods then for the donuts. So let's have a look. It does fit perfectly fine. And then we have some drinks, Gulpy Slush, Gulpy Soda, Pip Juice, smoothies, some water over here. And we put it in here and you can see it fits right in. See, that's pretty nice indeed. So you have built this very easily indeed. And this build looks kind of cool, and you want to have some seating area indoors. Okay, fine. Then we're gonna make this one, copy it over, and actually we could have moved it over. So I want to have this one there. Let's just delete that one. I just want to make sure that I copy this all the time. Now let's go with the window piece, and we actually forgot about one single wall piece which we might want to do. So sometimes you just forget about things, which I just did here. So let's just copy this over to make a fourth version, which is pretty easy because you just need to get rid of the window, just delete these pieces you don't need. I feel almost like that's not needed either, and then yeah, just delete those wooden pieces. You know by now where you get these ones. Go in the menu, use the wall, put the wall in, there we go, easy wall piece. They're gonna use this over here. And you can see now it really starts to get together. In this particular case, we have to do some slight adjustments here, because that piece needs to be a bit more dragged out so that, you know, there is a nicer look to it, because obviously we have the shop and you don't want to block the shop too much. And this is the one I need to select. Here we go. Cool. Delete this piece. Awesome. So you can see that's pretty much how you want it to look like. Okay, so this is a nice front over here. You can just put something in. I decide now to have some more facilities in, so I'm gonna use the Gulpy Energy as well indoors. I'm gonna see that we have them located on the right position. You know what we do? We put down the shop front first. Where do we have our shop front? It's that one. And you can also vary the position a little bit, so it's easy. I'm gonna build this a bit more blocky, but you could go and no, we do this. I'm gonna show you a little bit more of an advanced thing here then. Is this another shop front I used here, by the way? No, it's just the window. Okay, I want to keep the window here. I'm gonna make this work like so. And now what we do is we're gonna put this exactly in this position, but then we split this from the selection and we're gonna rotate this one. But now it's very important, do the angled snap on 45 degrees down here. If I was able to do this, 45 degrees, rotate it once, so you have the 45 degrees, and then, okay, I shouldn't have done that. I was stupid. Now again, select this, rotate it once, then you move it exactly so that you have this whole thing align perfectly. Oh god, I just moved it again down because I just dragged the wrong arrow, or the wrong axis I should say. Just put it in a position where you're happy with the location, that it kind of has a nice little tuck to here, so that's done. And now you go back into this build and you go for another shop front, if you will. I do the same now. I'm gonna choose this one, go to 1 meter grid again, and let's see if we can align this properly over here. We can do it that way or we can do it that way. So I think I'm gonna go for the further version, which is there. And you have this nice little shop front now, which will be inside our building. It will be a pretty massive building though, but you know, we're going to facilities. And now we're gonna go and let's use the milkshake, and we're gonna have some information kiosk in here that's gonna fit in here properly fine. And now the trick is to again do the same, just copy it over what you want to use, or maybe no, we're gonna go with the merchandise shop. Just a memento should do fine. I'm gonna go and put just a memento here. It's important to do it that way because now it is on the exact same grid. Now let's say split from the group and rotate the piece again. Still make sure to have this checked and then go once and now move it. Now you have to move it a bit more precise in this time, but I'm fairly happy to say that this is pretty easy once you've done it. And then you just move it into the position exactly as you did with the other ones. And you can see, boom, there we go. It's at the perfectly perfectly fine space. The only thing is this piece doesn't belong into the building, but that's not too bad, because now we're going to just close off the building real quick. Now we are 24 minutes in, and now you will see how quick we will get to an end now, because we have done a pretty nice preparation here. Okay, make sure to go back to the 1 meter grid, and then we just plop these pieces in as we need them. I'm gonna go this way, gonna put this one in here as well. Yeah, we are a little bit offset now, but we're gonna tackle this in a bit. Now I want to have another entrance, which is going to be sitting. Well, I think we are going to go. Let's make sure that we are going to stick to one grid, and I feel like we're going to stick to this grid over here. Might be. I'm just thinking if no, we go once further. Let's put in one more window. I'm gonna put the window just over here, and then I'm gonna put another window right to here to make sure that we are at the same. Yeah, so now we are really again at the right place. I'm gonna put the exit in here. So there we go. And now I'm gonna put another window, which will be right over here. Is that correct? And yeah, that's basically it. So this is where it sits, and now we can, yeah, let's do the rest with the wall, because there's basically some more backstage and stuff where you don't really see some stuff. So we're going to use this wall in here, and now you can just easily finish off that building by just using, you should then also hit the right position, copy it easy into the same position all the time. You can see we are perfectly at the same spot here. Gonna rotate it all the time until we hit it. Now this is wrong. No, actually it wasn't wrong, it was correct. It's just we need to move the piece out a bit. So now that's it. And we are not really perfectly aligned, as I see. Okay, I think okay, let's redo it, because it's easier. It's easier to go and just do it from the other side then. I'm a bit confused why it isn't. I think it was my mistake, because I wasn't paying too much attention. Now let's do it again from that side. Or maybe I messed something up over here. I'm not even sure, but yeah. We're going to put that in. So we're going to have at least some kind of correctness here, and then we're gonna, yeah, that's easier to connect as the other side. Okay, so this is done. Now you can see this is the building from the outside. I think it fits in from the building style quite nicely in here. Sure, you could always do it better, but now that's it. Now we are going back to our roof, you know, and since we, okay, actually I did a mistake at the beginning. I moved it with the, no, never mind. If you pull that back in, you can see we are somewhat aligned with this thing. I would highly recommend to just build this kind of in a way you can properly align it, and then I would go like this. I have a certain idea of building the roof now, so this is why. Making it a bit easier this time. I'm not even trying to make this too complicated looking. I can even use this too. Now, I didn't really want to build that roof, so I only had this as a little influence piece we can use to the lower side, but obviously we are going to use the more Asian looking roof instead. Now make sure to kind of make the grid small enough again, and we're going to use basically this piece down here. I want to have this 2-layer roof. Is this actually, no, it's not. Is there a recolor version of it? I think we only have this one, which is which we can recolor. Okay, so we have to, well, okay, we work with it. It's an advanced tutorial, so we are going to work with this little problem over here, and we're going to work our way in. Now this has been done, and I want to make like a second layer of the roof, as is pretty common in Asia. We're going to use these pieces to make a second layer roof as well. I'm not even sure if that's kind of the height we go for, and I'm going to show you another nice little trick. Now the thing is, if this would be in one building, you know, it would be pretty complicated to copy that stuff all over. Now since we prepared this as a 2-layer building and it's not in the same on the same grid, you can easily like copy it, move it over, and it's super easy. It's really easy to select that. Now let's see if we calculated correctly. We somehow did, which is nice. And this is kind of the roof how it is, but as you can see, it would be nice to actually have a little bit of a steeper one in the middle too, like it would be over here, you know, that way, and we make it stick out a bit more to this side, so it makes the whole thing look a bit more Asian. Again, I'm not willing to make this completely like 1,000,000% perfect here, but this, you can already tell how this should look in the end. Now what you can see, okay, this is not, this is potentially too high, so you want to have this a bit more lower down, just so much that it doesn't intersect with the other roof. Might even be too much now. Might even be too much. Yeah, let's get in and make this a bit easier. And now let's do it that way. Okay, I feel like this is the perfect one. Now, only for the sake of showcasing, I'm going to do something very easy now on this side here. We're gonna make this very steep roof. We're going to use here and oops, is that correct? Yeah, we're gonna use it here, and then I think we should be able to. Yeah, this should be fine. Going to use this just for the sake of finishing off that roof, and then the final building will be available for you as a cinematic at the end, because I think you got the drill by now. Now we only need to make sure that we continue this roof to go over to this side, making, I think it would be almost enough to have it this way. Yeah, that should be fine. Now the last thing I'm going to show you is, okay, so this roof looks okay-ish already in terms of the shape, but there's like no detail in, like no single detail whatsoever. This looks kind of weird, and at the end of the day you must say now, okay, this is also a result of the building. You should have used another down here, right? I think so the same. I would use something else, but for the sake of showing to you how you can tackle these problems, let's do it. Let's just tackle the problems. Now you have a whole bunch of cool pieces on the grid you could use. Oh yeah, and I just select the one that isn't on the grid. Great. Now what you can do, you can just try to use one grid piece that makes a nice element down here. Oh, my red panda is about to inbreed. Well, it may do. And now the trick is to not build this thing on the same grid, and I'm going to show you why. This is only our point of reference now, and I'm going to select this, and I'm going to split this from the group again, and I'm going to build in this building now, and you will see in a bit why I do this. So my idea is always to make building as easy as possible, but you have to make sure that you utilize the grid in a way that is in your favor. Now I did this on purpose, because now I want to use some pieces over here in our favor. So this piece for me from the Arctic pack, okay, but it kind of helps to divide this roof over here from the lower one, which doesn't look that nice. So I'm going to use this here and maybe even here to kind of find a nice little thing. I almost feel like there can be a bit more white in. So I'm going to use maybe a smaller one of this and going to meander that in, maybe like so. I'm not even sure if that is nice, but we're gonna see. I'm just going to go for easy design now, and I'm going to use these pillars here as a connection piece. So let me just connect that over here like so. Maybe like this. That should be fine. Wait, is that long enough to be in between both? We might just use the longer one then. Okay, so I'm gonna use the longer one here. Let me just recolor it a bit, so it's kind of matching the color. Yeah, that's better. It's matching the color a bit better. Let's put it down and do the same on the other side, so it gets this Asian vibe a bit in. Right. Okay. I think I like that, because as you copy it over, it will be even more obvious what I'm going for. Now I feel like there's a bit of reddish stuff missing. We're going to do this again by searching for some roof pieces or something that could be nice, and I feel like this piece always has a nice little touch to it. So I'm going to use that, and I remember it should be recolorable, so let me just move that into here as a little design piece. Oh, it's not even recolorable. Okay, well, never mind then. Let's see, property and flexi color. Do it, and then oh, it's that piece. Okay, well, let's use this piece then. Makes the whole world easier now. I'm gonna use this piece, and I'm going to recolor it with red, and there we go. Okay, so I'm almost happy about this, but I want to make sure that this whole roof on here looks also a bit more connected. So these pieces don't really look connected as of now, and if you look from the downside, there is something missing, and I'm going to use this piece again to kind of copy from over here, just to have the same positioning. I don't want to go into some different positioning. Now what I do, I'm going to keep FlexiColor, but now I go into more filters again. I'm going to try to search for some wooden material, and if you know, it would be also nice to have Indian or East Asia again, because that fits the theme, and this is the one I wanted to look for. Okay, it doesn't share the same It does not share the same angle of the piece, so I'm going to move this in myself. Okay, so I want to have this a bit tilted. That's actually correct. And I'm going to use this below here. Make sure to move it in as much as you can because you don't want to have it sticking out. I'm going to put that here and on the other side as well, like here. So it gets in with a little bit of nice touch. And yeah, then you have basically done everything to make this look good, I guess. I mean, you could do more, but you know, that fits. The only thing I don't like, I think the red is way too bright. So we're going to make this also the very dark red shaped one because that looks a lot better. Awesome. And you could even try to get in with another white piece, but for the moment that should be fine. Now this is done, and now the reason why we did this, why we split that from the group, because now you could say, hey, why didn't you just use that, you know, the same way? Well, because now you can just select it and you don't select the roof. You can just copy that over and search for the right position. Oh, make sure to use the smallest one. And there we go. You just copy that in here, and for whatever reason, I don't really know why that is the case, okay? In this specific case, it didn't work out exactly the same, which is weird, because it should actually do this, and now the game fools me. Maybe we have to just move it upwards a bit, but okay, that's super weird actually. Like, it sits in the right position. Okay, what we do, it's pretty simple. Just select everything and make sure to deselect the grid piece and then just move it up as soon as you have it. Okay, that's fine. You did it. It's awesome. I'm a bit confused why it doesn't work. It should actually, but maybe I hit the shift button and moved this roof a little bit. Now you fixed it, and now it is becoming super easy to just move and select everything, move it in position, and copy it over. See? And you wouldn't not be able to do this. Honestly, it's nearly impossible to do that without actually being on a different grid, because then you have always to search for the exact same pieces and blah blah blah. It's not really making life easier, I promise you. Now, as you've done that, you could go in and just say, okay, I want to do this piece a bit nicer over here. You know, there are some Asian pieces on the roofs, as I remember. Let me just search for them. I remember there were some pieces, and Flexicolor, I also get rid of it, that make the whole thing look a bit more Asian. I remember they are like roof shingles or something. Where are those? I remember they were in here. Let's see that we deselect this one and then just look for them, because I wanted to use them again because I am pretty lazy right now. So is that like, or is it in awnings? Nope, not really. Where are those pieces? Because they were like pretty easy to make the roof look very Asian indeed. I think they are in roofs. Let me just check by searching for all of them. Okay, that's the Arctic one. We have these ones. I mean, we have this piece, which then kind of gives this Asian... Yeah, okay, I mean, that's... Okay, if you press F here, it should then... It doesn't. Okay, that's interesting. Normally it should align to it, but in this case, F doesn't work. Okay, so press F in the chat for F not working. Well, that's unfortunate. And then you have also this piece over here that could be used. Let me just reduce the grid size, and then you could actually make this also like higher, or you can drag that out and just, you know, make it a little bit different if you want. But I think we're going to stick with this little bit over here, and then you could also make like a... I don't know if this is suitable, but let's drag that down here, and kind of as a... I think it's more like a little bell or whatever you would have in here. It's just for the showcase this time, guys. So yeah, okay, that's it. I put it in here, but what I want is I want to have this kind of wall filled in as well, and I don't want to copy it all over again. So what I do, I'm just going in here, search for... Actually, I want to have some white pieces these times. The bottom is nice, but I want to have some proper pieces. Now what I'm going to use, obviously, are the pieces that align to the roof. So that's also why it is always recommendable, or actually I do recommend to build always with the pieces on the grid as much as you can. You don't need to, and sometimes really organic buildings and stuff, they require even to not build on the grid, but you can really tell from what I'm doing over here, it is super helpful to be on the grid as much as you can, because then you don't run into the issues of having constantly to fight with like sticking out pieces and, you know, putting them all into the right position again and again. Okay, this is not super tidy over here. Obviously, you guys know that I usually build a bit more tidy, but for the sake of the showcase, you can just select all these pieces now, and then just copy that one over and just put that in like so. and then just delete that one piece there, which was double, and you could also grab this one and just move that into the right position if you would have some, like, the right grid system. Boom, here we go. Now it's in position, and you even have this filled in as you needed to. So it's kind of cool. It's really easy to do, really easy to work with. And if you want to make it even more perfect than I did over here, you could use now these pieces as well to make sure they are pretty much perfectly aligned with the roof, like that way and that way, and just use them until you have it done like so. But no one needs that at this point in time. Oh yeah, it's not even perfectly aligned. It's just I was stupid. Okay, so you would need to move them once more down. Here we go, and into the position. Now they're not sticking out. You could get rid of the outer ones. You couldn't, whatever. But now you get the drill. It's all done. You would do the same with this roof, but I think I call it a day over here because you can see now this is really advanced building in Planet Zoo and really easily done. Even though you use the grid, the building is not as easy as it's looking at the first thing. It's not as blocky. If you go in, you have this little nice you know, tilted shop in here, which seamlessly is integrated into the whole build. You now could also, and this is the cool bit about it, why I still recommend to use the path as much as possible. The grid. You can go in and align to the grid now and just perfectly use the grid to connect everything. It's very handy indeed. So if you build that now, you can see you will have no issue at all to connect all the shops. Okay, I moved this into half-ish grid, so you would need to first of all build that. You can even go in with a little plaza if you want. Oh no, we don't have curbs, so you cannot do this quite yet. And then just connect this, and then you should also be able to connect this, and it's almost like a perfect plaza in here already. See, that is how easy you could connect that. And then let's just connect the path over here to see how the people are using it. I'm gonna do that over here, fill in some trees. Let's go to everything and filter by East Asia. There we go, or Asia in general. I'm gonna put down some little plants here and there to give this whole thing a bit of a context. Got some palm trees in. So here goes a palm tree. Because a smaller one in front, you don't want to block too much of the building. So you want to have maybe some smaller ones that go well in here. There we go. That looks awesome. Really cool actually. And then you could also use some smaller pieces here and there. And then actually you want the people to go to the seating areas now. Connect the path here as well. And see, this is how easy you've done this wonderful building in like 40 minutes. That's actually not bad at all. It's 40 minutes. Like sure, you could get even better and make this building look even more fancy and stuff. But I think it's insane how much you're just ignoring that table existing. And this one. So screw you guys, I guess. Okay, we could then also put these things now in here. And then they just actually completely ignore these tables? They just run completely through it. Anyways, that's not the purpose of the video. But you can see this building is done in quite no time. And this is how you can utilize the different tools in Planet Zoo to make an advanced building, to just use all the pieces to your favor, to use all the functions to your favor. Make sure to have different layers. Just as a reminder, you can see here the building is one layer, the roof is one layer. Actually, the roof details are one layer, and this is one. I showed you how to use it by just splitting stuff from the group, making sure that you have a basic setup that you stick to, and you can perfectly align it later on. And it makes the whole thing, the whole building, so much easier to use at a later stage, and also easier to adjust. So let's say you just want to adjust something in this one, it's way easier than just splitting it from the whole group, deleting everything and blah blah blah. Makes the whole stuff very, very complicated. Now that's it, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this advanced building tutorial. If you have any more questions, please make sure to drop them down in the comments down below, and also make sure to keep asking for tutorials if you want to have some. If there are many people asking for some particular ones, I will be more happy to do them. And I just don't want to produce them when no one needs them. But I think this is one that has been requested so often. And I really do hope now that it does help you out. Now, have a good day and see you next day, guys. Bye-bye. Alrighty guys, thank you for watching this video, I really do appreciate that. As always, make sure to check out also my social media channels. You can find me everywhere under @RudyRunCamel. Also big thanks to the crew, you can see it on the left hand side right now. And as always, if you want to see more, you click that card on the top right. And if you want to stick around because you like the stuff you've just saw, whatever, you know what I mean, just click the sub button, which is to the bottom right of the screen right now. But everything else I can say is have a great time and see you next time. Bye guys.
Yeah.